Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to continue recapping my Explorer's Guide to Wildemount campaign that the Gold Dungeon Master ran for me, that I played in as an orc gardener. Okay, so my orc gardener Huckshear, he lives in the Broken Vale Marsh, and his with his adoptive parents, Tallane and Foxloff. Now, Tallane and Foxloff are Luxon drow who served Leilas Kryn and then retired to the Broken Vale Marshes, where they grow these blood roses in the Broken Vale Marshes. So at this point, their home in the Broken Vale Marshes is visited by a Kryn courtesan. Excuse me, I'm sorry, by not a Kryn courtesan, an ally of Leilas Kryn, one of the nomadic outlanders. Okay, and this nomadic outlander is loyal to Leilas Kryn, but he's also friend to Tallane, right? So he comes in and he visits, right? And he says, "Hey, I'm here I need to stay at your home for, I've come to have a talk with you." And they say, "Yeah, no problem. You've been traveling. Let's have dinner tonight and then we'll talk in the morning, but you should rest," right? So Abber, he is a nomadic outlander, and he seems very anxious. He wants to talk right away, but he respects his hosts. And then he tries to sleep, but he has a lot of difficulty sleeping that night, and he's not kind of stays up through the night. The next morning, Huckshear kind of finds a space close and just and really like spies on Todd, because he's so curious about Aber coming. And Aber talks to Foxloff and Tallane at breakfast, and he says, "Listen, I was near Rosanna, right? That's the capital of that's where Leilas Kryn lives, and that's the capital of the Wastes of Zorhas, right?" And he says, "And I saw a black dragon there." And Tallane's like, "Whoa, a black dragon?" And Foxloff sits up, right? And he's like, "What?" Yeah. And he's like, "Well, you don't really need to be frightened, Aber. When I left the service of the Queen, she has fine commanders. Like, they're actively warring against Dwendalia right now. She has an entire army. They can kill a dragon, right?" And he's like, "Well, it's going to be," and he's like, No, you're not understanding. They're not hunting to kill this dragon. I think they drew it there, and I think they're building an underground lair near in the barbed fields for this black dragon." And Foxloff, Aber came to talk to Tallane, his father, right? Huckshear's father. And he's like, "What?" And Foxloff is like, "What are you talking about? Like, they drew a black dragon and they're going to try to build it a lair?" And he's like, "Yes, this is why I'm coming to talk to you. This is incredibly dangerous, right? And I don't understand why Leilas is doing this." And Tallane says, "Listen, Aber, it's so good to see you again. We've been friends for a long time, but we've built a good life here in the Broken Vale Marshes. We have a good business. I don't want to get caught up in court intrigues again, right?" And the nomadic outlander's like, "Well, yeah, I totally get that. That's one of the reasons why I'm a nomadic outlander. I don't want to get caught up in this, but we've seen this. Like, this is real. This is and while both of you and I don't want to get caught up in all of Leilas Kryn's, court intrigues, or all the court intrigues that are surrounding Leilas Kryn. This is real. Like, this is happening, and I'm frightened for the Luxon Drows. I'm frightened for Leilas Kryn. I don't know what's going on, and I can't go into the court and figure this out. I couldn't even sleep in your home yesterday, right? It's just because he's a nomadic outlander. He's like, I really need your help. I need you to go back to court and figure out what's going on. And Tall Lane says, Aber, I'm sorry, but we're not going back. Like, and we've had people coming. You're not the only person who's come here and asked to, you're not the only person who's come here and asked to go back to court for some reason. We get probably one request a year to, we get like one request a year to, to go back to court for some reason or another. And, we're really trying to make our lives here, right? We've been here for a few years now and it's working and we don't want to go back. And so Aber says, listen, we've been friends a long time. Will you give me one more day? Can we meet again for breakfast tomorrow and give me one more chance to gather my thoughts and convince you? And Tall Lane says, we're good friends, but I swear you're overstaying your welcome. But we fought together, and it's the least I can do. And so then Aber is like, okay, well, I'll try to get some sleep tonight, and we'll talk in the morning, right? So then that meeting breaks, right? And then Aber, so Huckshire, my character, witnessed all this, right? And so I said, the dungeon master, excuse me, I'm going to go and talk to Aber and say, listen, Aber, I know why you couldn't sleep last night. You're a nomadic outlander, and I want you to get a good night's sleep, and I can give you a good night's sleep, right? So come with me into the Broken Vale Marshes, and I'll show you a place where you can sleep. So he takes him out into the Broken Vale Marshes, and and Huckshire is good friends with these horizon tortoisebacks, right? And and they kind of travel him all through the marshes, and sure enough, Aber is able to sleep on one of these horizon tortoisebacks, and they're a little late for breakfast the next morning, but Aber is completely refreshed and ready to have another discussion with Tall Lane. And I'm going to wrap it there. Thank you for letting me share this with you. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.